Ebrahim Alipoor is a Kurdish photographer reflecting stories with his lens from across Rojhelat and Iran, amongst other places. Ebrahim uses photography as an artistic practice through which he may connect people to untold stories and help influence conversations around lives underrepresented in social and political conversations. Ebrahim is a multi-award winning photographer with a long list of achievements that include a Joop Swart Masterclass nomination in 2024 and an Alexia Grant Award of Excellence. In 2025, Ebrahim won the prestigious and coveted World Press Photo Award for his long-term photo story documenting Kolbars, entitled Bullets Have No Borders. And now I bring you a conversation with Ebrahim Alipoor.
Right now, I'm in Tehran, in Iran, and um, I do photography, something that I do for like 20 years. I born and grow up in a village near the border between Iran and Iraq in Rojhelat. And I grew up in Kurdistan, and also I'm a self-taught photographer. I start photography with the camera, analog camera that my father bought it many years ago, and then I really like it. I continue taking photos, and still I am doing this. And yeah.
That's amazing. What were some of the earliest things, people's stories that you were drawn to as a photographer, or as a budding image maker?
Actually, the first times that my father bought the camera, he wanted me to take photo when he was in the class, and he was a teacher, so he asked me to take a photo when he was teaching to the student in the villages. And we moved between the villages every year, like 30 villages in 30 years that my father was a teacher. So I was somehow like a personal photographer for my father. So I took photos all the times. And then I really realized that I really like photography. And as you know, Rojhelat and Kurdistan is so beautiful, like mountains, landscape, and everything. So I just fall in love in photography and started to take photo from the nature and landscape. And my first photo exhibition was about the nature and landscape, because there wasn't any mentor or masters for the photography. So I realized, okay, and the landscape and environment is really so beautiful. So let's take a photo and have a exhibition, and the feedback was really amazing because many people came and they really encouraged me to continue. But after a few years, I realized that taking photo in the nature and landscape is not important anymore for us, like for me at least as a Kurdish person. So I started to study how photography can be like effective, what they say, effective art on the people, like how photography can affect the people, and how I can use the photography in the way that I can tell the stories, or so I just like I didn't take like environment photo or like nature photo anymore. I took some photos just because when I found a story in the nature, like environmental issues or like global warming in Kurdistan, but not like beautiful photos anymore. So I just shifted to documentary photography all the time, and I studied architect in university. So I just quit my like studies and everything, and I started to be like a documentary photographer, freelance all the time. So and it was for me, it was really easy to find the subject because we have a lot of story like in the villages, especially for me that I grew up in the villages. So I went and I listened to the old men and like grandpa and like another people, and they had a lot of story to tell. And um, um, we as like Kurdish people, we really like to tell the story like in our life. So it wasn't so hard for me to how to like how to tell a story with the photo. So I started to listen to people and find the stories, and then the photo story like uh, shaped in my career.
What are the types of stories that you're attracted to as a photographer? I was going through your work and I noticed that travel seems to be very important to you. You've photographed in Kurdistan, across Iran, Baluchistan, Afghanistan, it seems like as well. Um, is what are you looking for in terms of stories or communities that you're documenting?
Actually, as I mentioned before, at those time, no one didn't tell me that the story around you is important. So I said, okay, I need to travel. So I had a bicycle. So I started to cycle around the South Asia for like 6 months, and I cycled like 9,000 kilometers around many countries like Cambodia, Laos, China, Tibet, Vietnam, Thailand, and I really I went with my bicycle and my camera to find the stories. Then when I came back, I realized it's I have to tell the story around myself, not
Mm.
like I don't need to travel far away. So, but I work a lot in East Asia, and also uh, but later in Iran, I worked also in Sistan Balochistan. Also, I went to Afghanistan after the Taliban took over the power in Afghanistan again. And but most of my story are about the Kurdistan and Kurdish issues. So now I realize is that I can tell the story around myself better. So I focused on the issues that we have it, not just issues. I focused on the stories that we have it in Kurdistan. So I focused on the project that it was part of my life also, because if you see some of the photo in a bullets have no border story are like my father, my brother, also my friend. So I focused on a story that we have it in Kurdistan. And yeah, and now most of the stories that I worked are in Kurdistan, and not just the Rojhelat. Now I work in Bashur and also in Bakur, and stories related to Roja also. So yeah, I focused on stories around myself.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So it'd be great that we could start talking about your project, Bullets Have No Borders, because it's really remarkable work. It's so stunningly beautiful and personal, and since I saw it in the World Press photo, I look at it quite often actually because it's such beautiful work. And I was wondering, before we start talking about the pictures, many Kurds will know who Kolbars are, but maybe for some who don't and for others who don't, could you start with explaining who Kolbars are and what it is they do, where they are?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I grew up in a village in the border, and I live in a city near the border. Bane is near the city, near the border between Iran and Iraq. So we have a long border between Iran and Iraq, especially between Kurdistan Iran and Kurdistan Iraq. And because of the many issues that we have, it like we don't have a lot of job, and many people are jobless, and also we because of the sanction, because of the there is many items that influence the Kurdish life. So the Kurdish people go to the Kurdistan Iraq, to Bashur, through the mountain, and bring the stuffs like TVs, refrigerator, air conditioner, cigarette, clothes, and everything. And they bring it with this stuff with the shoulders through this mountain. And it took like between 8 to 12 hours. And in this way, we we lost many peoples in this mountain, because the petrol border in Iran, they shoot them. And also because of the hard situation in the mountain, we lost many people. They fall down through the big cliffs and big rocks. And also Many of them, they lost their way, and they, especially in the winter, they frostbitten in the winter. And also, yeah, there is many item. Also, mineland. We have many mineland in the mountains. So per statics, I think 300 Kolbars per year they lost or injury in this mountain. It means one person per day. So, and is this kind of work? I don't know what they call it. It's not work, but as
Mm.
this work that the Kurdish people do it, it influence all of the cities and peoples in near the cities near the border. Also, like myself, when I was child, I didn't go to the border to bring the stuff, but we were to the border and we wait for the people, because when they bring the stuff, the box and everything was really damaged. So we just repacked everything in a new boxes and prepare it
Nice.
to send it to another city. So so it's a story. Somehow it's like part of my life, because I grew up near this border, so I know what's going on this border and with these people. So I started to make a photo story about the Kolbars. It took almost like it's not a good sentence that I say it took, because I did it
Mhm.
every day. I live
Yeah.
uh, the city. So, but the photo was for 12 years. So it means the first photo and the last photo was like it's a 12 years period that I took these photos. And it wasn't just about the Kolbars. It was like about the people who affected by the borders and also Kulbari, because many people flee the country because they didn't have jobs, so they went to the another. We have many villages that like many young peoples, or even the old people, they went to the Europe and um, England also to find a to seek a better future. So, and also many people now are paralyzed after the Kulbari, because they shut by the petrol borders. And yeah, and some of my friends, some of my classmates, some of my family, like my brother, and all like me. So it was somehow it's like a personal story for me also. So I did this story, and the name is "The Bullets Have No Border," because they didn't care which side of the border you are; they shoot you. And and many people now are paralyzed or killed or lost to their, I don't know, their young children or um, so yeah. The story is "The Bullets Have No Borders," and it won the World Press Photo last year.
Yeah, and so well deserved. It's an unbelievable story, and the pictures are really incredible. And you know, even the title "Bullets Have No Borders." The photograph of an X-ray of a bullet lodged into the back of a knee, and you know, this really hammers it home how dangerous it is for people that are crossing the border, and how it affects not only, you know, the Kolbars, but also the communities that surround them. There's another beautiful photo of I'm guessing it's a young man who's decided to leave the community, and his mother is kissing him, you know, with so much heart on the face, and it's such a heartbreaking goodbye. And a really beautiful but hauntingly beautiful photograph of a widow with a white veil at night who has lost her husband to the work. And how was it for you doing this work, being among them? Because you know, you're traveling the routes with them. You know, it is dangerous, and you know, you're photographing them moving up these mountains in the freezing cold and the dead of winter and the dead of night, even colder. um, were they happy to have you photographing them? Were they happy to have you with them to kind of document these experiences? Because you know, the photos are quite intimate. and and tragic and emotional. So I'm wondering, did it take a long time? I know that you had a very strong connection to the community, but did it take a long time for them to warm up to you having a camera in your hand, or was it much more organic?
Uh, I have to mention some it's some stories.
Yeah,
First, it was at the first it was hard to accept me as a photographer to go to
yeah.
the border and work with the Kolbars. But as you know, everything in Kurdistan somehow is work with the like connections. So I had a really good connection. Many people know me, but sometimes you cannot introduce yourself. So
Mhm.
especially at night or when you go with a group. So it was all most of the time it was one connections that introduced me to other people that oh, this guy is a trustable guy. So let's let's allow him to do like take photo and everything that he wants. So when, for example, my fixer or my friend, all of my fixer was my friend. So when they called to the group to the border that oh, one of our friend come, just let him do everything. So everything was like okay. So he's a trustable man. So he can, because it's dangerous because they don't allow the people to take photo most of the time. But it was good because I had a really good connection. And later, um, for the photo in like inside the families and like and this the story inside the villages and other things, um, I was really honest with the people that I wanted to take photo, and really I didn't want to like fiction photos. Or I was so it was so simple for me. Everything was I took the photo as this in the scene as like the reality. Like I didn't change something, or I didn't pose, or I didn't want to someone to do something. Never. It make my job so easy. Like I was really honest. I told them do everything that you want to do and be yourself and live your life. So and just allow me to sometimes to take some photos because it's really important, not for me, for the history. And almost all of the people in the photo, they realize it completely that these photo are not for me, are not for them, are for history, because it's so important to be as a document. And so it took really like long time to make this really strong connection. But at the moment, it was like all of the Kurba called me, okay, come to the border, someone like get shot, or uh, go to the come with us to the border. Maybe tonight we are like a 100 200%, and we go, and later it was like all the time they called me and we were like a family. So um yeah, it make like this.
I think that might be a good segue into talking about some of the pictures, because I know you said you're not a landscape photographer anymore, but
Yeah,
landscape I think is so important to this story because the people are so intertwined with the landscape. And I think one of the things that was so striking to me when I look at the story over and over again is kind of the juxtaposition between the beauty of the landscapes and the camaraderie of people, the Kolbars, and then the kind of shocking brutality of the conditions. And again, I don't know if I should call it work or how I should describe what Kolbars do, but I think of comparisons between, that opening image of the lone man on the mountain with his pack on that's kind of centered in the mountain. And, his pack is probably 50 kilos or more because this is the weight that people are dealing with. You said, I think somewhere that it could be even twice or three times that amount.
yeah,
And, there's these stunning photos of the men kind of walking uniformly on the routes through the mountains, and then you contrast that with photos of somebody who's lost his fingers from frostbite,
yeah,
or a man in a photo who lost both of his eyes because he was shot in the head by border authorities. There's a really heartbreaking photo of a 22-year-old boy. I mean, 22 is so young, being given mouth-to-mouth resuscitation after he was caught in an avalanche, and he wasn't able to be saved, and he lost his life because of it. So it's extremely dangerous work. Many people do die or are killed, and they often receive little reward. I saw that you had said that sometimes maybe on a single route they might only earn $10 or $13. And so maybe can you talk a bit about what life is like for the people who do this, and what brings them to choose to do this, and how it affects them and their communities?
For the selection of the photo, I have to say something that
Yeah.
I have a lot of photo from the Kolbars in the night, in the day, very different like photos. But I really didn't want to make the photo story so dramatized and where he puts many photo. But at the same time, I really wanted to put some really direct and simple photos. So it was why you can find just I think 4 photos. The people that are there doing Kulbari. Another photo related to the families do after the Kulbari or the people that affected by the Kulbari. So it was a lot of photo, and for any photo, I really have a like a strong reasons that I choose this photo because it was many photo, many stories from many people. So about the questions that you ask, I have to say many people in the villages and also the city, I mean most of the people, they don't have any alternative like for job. Like many of them, they are jobless, they cannot work or they don't have any opportunity to work. Like we don't have many company in Kurdistan. Like we don't have I, s- I think I can say we don't have at all companies in Kurdistan, so they cannot work in company, and many people cannot work in the government official works. So, and in the village, especially in the near the borders, there is only like one option that go to the another side of the border and bring some stuff. So, I mean, for many people, there is the only options that they have. And actually, the money is really nothing, but the risk is really high. So, like the income is like 10 or maximum like $15. That is nothing, but the risk is so high. But the people they don't have other choice. And another things also is I don't want to just say in one. I mean, I don't want to look at this issue in the in like how they say in my side. I want to look at in this issue on another side also that it's true that many people can go to the another city and work or do some other jobs, but the reason is they $10 or $15 is a good like what they say is a good income if they do it every day. I mean, sometimes it's true that we have this issue. It's true that many people do it, but many people also can stop it, but they don't stop it because they earn it like $10 or $15 per day, so they want to continue again and again. I mean, if there is be another options, it must be like with the really high income that they convince them that to leave the Coolberry and go to this job. I mean, it's like two side. They don't have another option, and also the income, despite the another income in Iran or in Kurdistan, is a good. So they wanted to continue again and again. But it's really deep issue, and mostly I'm not like talking like an anthropologist about this issue because I read a lot. I was with the Kulbar a lot, but I think we need to study more and more, and a good anthropologist have to speak about this issue. But as someone that I really try to narrate this story as it was, like I didn't change nothing. I didn't want to make it really hard or make it really easy or make it, I mean, in a way that it will be like a good story. No, I just narrate something that I saw in this region.
Yeah, and I think you do it beautifully because the pictures, you really, I think you bring the viewer in, like you're the way that you're telling the story visually. It's like you're really placing people on the routes with these men, and you are kind of struck by the beauty, but also the pain, and so I the edit is so well constructed too. I mean, I think the visuals, people talk a lot about the visuals, but the editing process is such an important process, just as much as the visuals themselves. And I was struck again by the meticulous planning, like the actual changing of the routes and the writing down the routes and having the night vision goggles so that they could see where people were moving on the border areas. You capture so meticulously the kind of way that they move in the environment. And also, there's quieter moments and quieter juxtapositions, like the kind of condensed homes of the border cities with these warm lights on, these warm spaces. And then the next photo will be light reflecting off of, harsh snow falling, and it's these two worlds that they inhabit, and the fact that they primarily leave at night so that they can get to the border in the morning and they can kind of move within the cover of darkness. And the storytelling is so beautiful. And I'm wondering, two things actually. Can you talk about your approach to telling the story? How you were thinking about the visuals, how you were thinking about the editing after you had kind of gone through that process. And then what was your way of working when you were with them? Because camera equipment is not light. So, you must have been carrying some weight to you too, and it's still dangerous for you to move along these routes. So, maybe if you could talk about those two things. What was your process for working, and what was your idea thinking about the visuals and the edit of the story?
Actually, for the editing, the first time that I showed the story to a mentor or someone, it was like in 2023, I think, yeah. And I was the winner of the grand prize in Canon, and so they asked me to bring two, three stories. So I bring the Kolbars, and it was like some editors from the big medias and newspapers like Stern magazine, New York Times, Spiegel, as I remember, Times, and many other places, Washington Post. And I showed the story to them, and I realized at those moments, I realized that they don't know many things about the story. It was why like they wanted to editing the photos, and they like eliminate one photos that I knew that this one is really important. So I decided they helped me a lot. I learned a lot out of those program, but later I realized is that the best person that I can choose and editing the photo, it was myself, because I really knew the stories. For example, the photo with the snow that you mentioned is just a photo with the snow. But if you look at like as a visually, but when you think about the story, it was so important because when it was snowfall, so the Kolbars, it was the best night for the Kolbar because it is there at the border. The petrol border didn't go to the border because it was snow, and all of the Kolbars, like in every LA in the city, I saw the Kolbars came with like a small bag and like water and some biscuit and go to the border. It's snowing because it was so important in the story. So I decided to editing by myself, but I really learned a lot. And in the editing, I really didn't want to make it in a like a line story, like from A to Z. So because it was not like, oh man, some people go to another side of the border, bring some stuff, and they bring it to the city, and then they send it to another cities. It wasn't the story. It wasn't like this. The story was about the people that go to the another side of the border. Many of them they didn't come back. Some of them, the families are affected by this, and also even the life of the Kurdish people affected. So it was many branch in this story that I wanted to tell the story. So I tried to make a balance between like the main stories that it was the people that go to the border, and also another stories that it happened in a parallel time. So it was why I decided to choose like these, like sinus, what they say, I don't know. My English is that.
No, no, no,
And
it's brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, so when I was eating, I really decided to choose these photos to make people really curious when they started to see the photos, because one photo, the cool, it's a cool bar in the mountain, another photo is the villages, and then go the story. I tried to bring the audience with the story. And for the second question, uh, I have a really, really not funny, but really amazing stories that it happened. I remember once I went to the border and I used just one lens, it's 24-70. So almost like I think all of the photo I did with, I think like just one photo I used another camera because I didn't have at those times, so I wanted to take a photo, but I think 99% of the photo I took to with the one camera and one lens. But still, I remember once I wanted to go to the border, but I lost the way. So, and it was snow, and it was like 1 meter or even like 1.5 meter snow. So when I wanted to go to the road, I was in the snow like till here, and it was really really
Oh my
hard,
gosh.
and all of my shoes and was full of the water in the snow, and it was really hard. So when I arrived in the road and I go up, I went to the top of the mountain and I wanted to go down to another side. Was all the time I was like, oh, what I'm doing here? I didn't have to sit at the home, but near it was winter and it was so cold. I wished I was at home with the tea and really watching the TV, or I don't know, maybe I can do. I was thinking about like I can do take photo of like a merry like ceremony or something like this. You know what?
Weddings.
Yeah, something that never I didn't try, but at those time I said, okay, what I'm doing here, and also all the time you are like afraid to the petrol boulder shoot you, like because they don't care you are photographer, or they just try to shoot everyone. At those time it was a guy, he was like I think 65, 70. He was really really old man, and he had a really big what they say, big stuff on his shoulder, and
Yeah.
yeah, big pack, and he tried to come up from the rock, and I was in the top of rock. I was waiting to he just passed, and then I can go, because it was just one person can go through the way. And I was thinking all the time, and when he arrived, he just looked at me and start laughing, and I say, well done, how are you, something like this. And he was like, with the road was really really dangerous, and then when he told this, I said, what I'm like, I have a camera, it's just like 2 kilograms, 3 kilogram, and I don't have nothing, and this guy with 50 kilogram in, with like all of this way he is coming, and still he is laughing, and still he say, how are you, welcome, and I said, I told to myself, just shut up and you just have a camera, it's just 2 3 kilogram, there is nothing really to complain. And later, all the time, I just remember this guy. I have a photo from this guy. All the time, it was really hard, and in the night, or even later, all the time, I was thinking about this guy, that how he was. I don't know what they say. He had a really big soul, and he has a love. And if I was like this guy, I say, okay, don't take a photo, why you are here, maybe the reaction is like this. But yeah, after that, never I didn't complain about the situation, never.
Yeah, it really it's humbling. It puts things into perspective. I think I would have been like, "Can you get out of the way so I can get up the mountain, please?"
Exactly.
No, but that's really amazing. Maybe really quick, just really quickly, the Kolbars themselves, are they generally younger people? Do you see them of all ages, or are they usually younger and they stop doing it after a certain number of years? Because I mean, the level of weight and everything, it has to be um, extremely difficult
Okay.
the older you are doing it.
Uh, there is in all, like I saw in like all of the ages, like I saw from 12 or 13 to like 70. So no, we cannot say most of them they are like between, but you can find like the children, like the children that go to the school, or even the retired persons. So there's really like variety in the age of the Kulbers. So, and about the weights that they carry is because they get paid by the weight, because if they carry more weight they get paid more, so they are trying to get to bring more. It's why they try to bring like 50 or more, even because if they bring 20, they get paid like for 20 kilogram.
I mean, I think for many who will see the pictures, the idea of somebody carrying a fridge on their back, walking up these mountains, is really is genuinely something to think about.
Yeah.
And your eye capturing this, I mean, it's really no wonder that that you did win the World Press Photo last year. And it's so, like I said, it's so well deserved. The work is so brilliant and necessary. And I may be wrong, but from my research, are you the first Kurdish photographer to win the World Press Photo?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay, and this is a major achievement, and I'm so happy to hear it. And what was that experience like for you to find out? I saw bits of an interview that you did, and I saw that you said that you read it once and didn't want to read it again just in case you read it wrong the first time. But how that must feel incredible, no?
Yeah, actually, for me, I remember like 10 years ago, I didn't participate in a WordPress photo because I said, oh, it's so big. It's like it's like the best things that, and like I think a photographer, like a documentary or journalist, can achieve it. But later I remember I didn't apply never, because I said, oh, maybe my photo is not good. But at 2023, when as I mentioned, when I went to the Canon program, uh, when I showed the photo to the editors, they say, wow, why you didn't apply for the WordPress photo? And I say, I don't know. I think it's not so good. And they say, you have to. And um, I remember I participated twice, 2024, and I was the finalist between the two last story, and 2025 that I applied again, and then I won. And I really didn't, at the first, I really didn't know that I am the first Kurdish or not, or but actually I didn't care like a lot. It's a good field, but for me was the really important thing was I realized is that many people now they know the story of the Kulbars, because many people didn't know who are the Kulbar, what happened in this mountain, in this region. So it was because just the exhibitions that they hold in more than 100 country, and more than 4 million people visit the just the exhibition at the website, and many other things. So it was really amazing feel. I remember the first time that I saw the email, I just like closed my
Close it.
laptop. No, I said, and after 1 hour, I think again I just watched it, and oh yes, and till 1 week, I think I had it like a double feel, like, and because they checked everything, like statics, photos, everything, and they if they found like something wrong, and I say, oh, static is good, also the photo is good, and I didn't do something wrong. Maybe I do something wrong, but for till 1 week, all the time I was checking the photo, the story, the statement, and everything, and then yeah, it was really amazing feel.
Yeah, of course. I love the idea that maybe you did something wrong. You couldn't possibly have won. No, that's amazing. I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's so well deserved, and I mean, awards are really amazing, but also, the exhibitions and having people who didn't know about these stories. I think that's the ultimate reward of doing this work. But also, that's coming from somebody who's never won a World Press Photo Award, so that's easy for me to say. but but no, it's so well deserved, and it's such beautiful work. And I hope anybody who's watching this, they go directly to the World Press Photo website, to your website, any way that they can live with this work. They should definitely do so. Are you planning on making a book with this work at any time?
Yeah,
Can
right
you talk about
now
it?
we just yeah, right now we just started to make a book, and we planned to finish it till I think that December we it will be finished, and it's good
Okay.
for the first time because it's about the Kurdish. For the first time, I found the Kurdish institute that they support the book. It's a good news because most of the time, like my work, my books, and other people support it. So it's a good news that the Kurdish society now they started to supporting media, photo, and it's why they. I I mean, maybe someone say, WordPress is not important, but I got a lot of good feedback from the all of the like Kurdish parts that after the WordPress photo, and they really wanted to support, and they are now trying to more understand about the photo and how a photo story or documentary photography is important for a society, like Kurdish society, especially for us. So I get a lot of feedback, and soon I hope we have the book.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear you say that because whenever you're publishing new photographs, I'm one of many people, I'm sure, that are waiting to see them. And I'm so happy that you are documenting Kurdish stories and bringing these stories that are so underrepresented to the forefront for people to see. And I could keep this conversation going with you for another hour or two. Believe me, there's so many questions I wish I had more time to ask you, but maybe part two in the future. And I
Yeah,
just want to say thank you so much for a wonderful conversation. It was so amazing to speak with you, and I hope anybody watching go and consume all of this man's work. and uh, and um, and again, thank you so much, Ibrahim. It's so wonderful to speak with you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much to you and to the times that you gave me to speak about the story, because most of the time there is just photo, but this time it's audio and it's more than the photo. So it's a good experience. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.